Our story continues from part 2. If you haven't seen that video, I will suggest you do before watching this video. The story so far. Moni, now an established healer in the village of Abule Olorin, received a message from a distant kingdom known as Iluoba, ruled by King Adekunle and Queen Eniola. The message was a plea for her to come heal their son and only child, who was possessed by an evil spirit. They had come to know that Moni was the final solution to healing their son when they visited the great oracle of the land known as Orisha. Meanwhile, Morayo, Moni's wicked aunt in Abule Odo, had heard of Moni's success as a healer, and then she made up her mind to arrange for Moni to be captured by mercenaries and brought back to Abule Odo. This is the story so far, and so our story continues. Moni set out on the road to Iluoba with the king's messengers, unaware of the danger lurking ahead. The forest they traveled through was dense and dark, the trees towering above them like ancient guardians. As Moni was riding with the messengers in the forest path back to Iluoba, she only had one thing on her mind, and that was healing the possessed prince and ridding him of the evil spirit for good. This presented a new challenge for her. She had never confronted an evil spirit before, and so she was a bit anxious, but she had faith that she would be able to heal him. As the group approached a narrow path in the forest, the mercenaries struck. Suddenly, a group of armed men sprang out from the bushes with weapons, all looking menacing. Armed with swords and nets, they surrounded Moni and the messengers with the aim of kidnapping Moni and taking her back to Abule Odo. These were the mercenaries sent by Morayo, Moni's wicked aunt, to capture Moni. Was this the end? Will Morayo succeed in capturing Moni and bring her back to Abule Odo? Let's continue with the story.
Hand over the girl.
The leader backed.
No one needs to get hurt.
The messengers drew their weapons, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. They were no match for the mercenaries. Within minutes, Moni found herself surrounded, her path blocked on all sides. The mercenaries closed in, their eyes filled with greed and malice. Terrified and her heart beating fast, Moni closed her eyes and whispered a prayer, and as she did, she felt a surge of power welling up inside her. Then, without thinking, she began to sing. Her voice filled the air like the sound of 1,000 birds at dawn, clear and powerful. The mercenaries froze, their swords falling from their hands, their eyes glazed over as they stood there transfixed, unable to move. Moni continued to sing, her voice waving through the trees like a spell. The mercenaries dropped to their knees, helpless before the power of her song. They could not resist her. They would not harm her. With a final note, Moni commanded them to leave, and like puppets on a string, they rose and retreated into the forest, defeated and dazed. The other messengers were amazed and held spellbound by the supernatural power of Moni's voice, which had the power to subdue even the strongest of mercenaries. This unlocked a newfound power level of her voice. She had just discovered her voice could control the minds of men. Definitely, this was uncharted territory. It was as if the dynamics of her powers kept expanding and increasing. Over the years, she had primarily used her voice for healing, but this was a new discovery even for her. However, this part of her power was subject to certain conditions being met. Before the power would manifest, the trigger was fear. If she happened to be in danger, the power would then be triggered, albeit in times of desperation and need. However, it wouldn't work if she wanted to use it for nefarious means or selfish gain. It was because she was in danger and her essence sensed it, so it triggered and activated that side of her powers to protect her. Moni had just discovered a new dimension to her power, one that would prove very useful down the line. Moni and the messengers then continued on their journey to Iluoba, but the messengers regarded Moni differently from then onwards. They saw her as a goddess in human form and treated her with the utmost respect and admiration. When they arrived in Iluoba, King Adewale and Queen Eniola were eagerly awaiting them. The king and queen welcomed her with open arms. They were taken aback by her beauty, grace, and humility.
Welcome, my daughter.
King Adekunle said,
And thank you for heeding our call. Means everything to us.
He then continued,
Our son needs your divine healing powers. Please help us save him.
To which Moni replied, I am merely a servant of the gods. I was blessed with this gift for only one purpose, and that's to bring life, peace, and healing to a world that's filled with so much pain and sorrow. I've heard about the possessed prince, and I will do everything within my power to ensure he is completely healed. To which Queen Eniola replied,
Thanks so much, my daughter. The gods will continue to favor you and bless you, and may the gods grant you the power to heal our son. Come, let me show you where the prince is.
With that, Queen Eniola led Moni to the prince's chambers. Prince Adewale lay in his chambers, his body racked with spasms as the evil spirit tormented him. Strange guttural sounds escaped from his lips. The king and queen stood by his side, their faces etched with grief and despair. Moni knelt beside the prince and began to sing. Her voice, soft at first, filled the room with warmth and light. The air stood still around her as her melody wrapped round the prince like a protective cocoon. For Moni, this was a new challenge. She had never done anything like this before, and so she didn't have the slightest clue it would take a whole 7 days for the prince to be healed. This evil spirit was very powerful. It was an ancient demon summoned from the pits of hell, and it constantly resisted Moni's angelic voice. Moni never gave up. She believed every situation she had experienced in her life was building her up to this very moment. After 5 long days of Moni singing and the prince not getting healed, the king and queen began to lose hope, and they began to doubt the words of Pafadeye, the great chief priest of Orisha-Ewe Oracle. On the 7th day, Moni was totally exhausted. She had been singing for days, and there was no improvement in the condition of the prince. The evil spirit remained. Moni then remembered the events that transpired with the mercenaries in the forest path. With a determined look, Moni sat beside the prince. She was not even afraid that he might harm her. She gently placed her palms on the prince's head. She closed her eyes, and this time around, she sank directly to the evil spirit. She had been singing to the prince with her consciousness directed towards him, but the moment she shifted her focus to the evil spirit, she began to see the mystical form of the evil spirit hovering above the prince. As she sang, a warm, glowing light began to envelop the prince, suffocating the evil spirit and making it very uncomfortable. From day 1 to day 6, the evil spirit was relaxed, but on the 7th day, even the evil spirit noticed there was something different. As Moni continued to direct all her focus and attention on the spirit began trashing the body of the prince, struggling to stay. With a final push, the evil spirit finally left the prince's body. Prince Adewale was finally free, the curse broken. This left Moni very exhausted as she fell on the floor unconscious. The king and queen quickly ordered the palace guards to gently pick up Moni and place her in one of the royal chambers as they tended to her to revive her. After some time, she opened her eyes slightly and drifted off back into a deep sleep as she rested and slept peacefully after an exhausting 7-day exorcism of the evil spirit. As the sun rose over the horizon the next day, the prince opened his eyes. The glow was gone, replaced by a soft human warmth. The curse had been lifted. The evil spirit had been driven out finally, and Prince Adewale, for the very first time in his life, was truly rid of the evil spirit. There was widespread jubilation and celebration in the royal palace. The king and queen wept with joy as they showered Moni with riches and treasure and huge bags of gold. Moni respectfully declined the gifts. She told them she was merely carrying out the dictates of the gods, and so she required no form of payment. This act further endeared Moni to King Adewale and Queen Eniola. They had never seen such a young, beautiful woman who effortlessly combined qualities of nobility, humility, grace, and wisdom as Moni did. They were eternally grateful for what she had done for them, and they were forever in her debts. The prince was now fully healed and his health fully restored. He was a handsome prince, tall, dark, with nice facial features. While he was still possessed with the evil spirit, his parents couldn't find a princess that would be willing to marry him, and so he remained single till now. He was eternally grateful to Moni for coming to his rescue. He saw a young, beautiful woman who had risked everything to heal him, and he instantly fell in love with her. There were other rich and beautiful princesses all vying for his attention, but the prince only had eyes for Moni. He had seen her strength, her kindness, and her beauty, and he knew she was more than just his savior. She was the woman he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. The king and queen remembered the warnings of the oracle, which was that the prince must marry a virgin to break the curse completely and prevent the evil spirits from ever returning again. From speaking to Moni and looking to know her better, Queen Eniola found out she was a virgin. A harmless thought then crushed her mind. She went into the king's royal chambers and discussed with King Adekunle in private about the possibility of Prince Adewale and Moni getting married to each other. She believed this would solve two problems. One, the prince will be getting married to a virgin, and by so doing, completely break the curse of the evil spirits. And two, it was a way to reward Moni for her part in healing Prince Adewale. This was a splendid idea to which the king also agreed to. Unknown to them, the gods had already set this plan in motion. Moni was destined for greatness, and marrying Prince Adewale created the pathway to becoming a queen to a very powerful kingdom. Moni's time with Prince Adewale blossomed into a budding friendship. Over the weeks and months that followed, Moni would often journey back to Iluoba to visit Prince Adewale, and they would walk together in the royal gardens, laughing and enjoying each other's company. Prince Adewale and Moni were now totally in love with each other. And when Prince Adewale approached his parents, the king and queen, to tell them he wanted to marry Moni, it was as if he spoke their minds. They all agreed Moni would be a perfect partner and would make a great queen, and in time, they eventually got married. Time passed and Moni became the queen of Iluoba. Her reign was peaceful and her people loved her deeply. But peace is never eternal, and soon news reached the kingdom of a neighboring land preparing for war. The enemy king was ruthless, determined to conquer Iluoba and claim its riches for himself. The prince, now King Adewale, was agitated and flustered when he received the news of the enemy army's approach. He sat down in his royal chambers deep in thought. Meanwhile, Queen Moni was resting in the royal bedroom, and while she slept, she had a vision in which her late mother appeared to her.
Do not be afraid of the enemy kingdom. You were specially chosen by the gods to carry this gift, to be a force for good and a bringer of peace in a time of war. Use this power to save your kingdom. Go with the soldiers into battle,
Her mother said.
Your voice is your weapon, but it is also your shield.
Queen Moni, now a mother of 2 sons, woke up and instantly knew what she had to do to save her kingdom. She walked in and knelt down to greet King Adewale. She still had the gift. This was because she had no daughter yet, only 2 sons. And according to legend, she would only lose the gift if she had a daughter, which meant the gift would then be transferred to her daughter. She spoke softly to the king.
My great king, do not fret about the impending war looming at our borders. The enemy kingdom will not defeat us. I have faith in the gods,
she said. King Adewale looked at her with admiration and smiled weakly. She then continued,
I only ask for one thing, my king, that I follow the soldiers into battle.
When King Adewale heard this, he was surprised. He wondered why Queen Moni had made such a request, but nevertheless, he agreed to it reluctantly. When the day of the battle came, Queen Moni stood on a platform overlooking the battlefield. The enemy's army stretched out before her, thousands of soldiers armed to the teeth. Moni closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and began to sing. Her voice echoed across the battlefield, a sound so pure and powerful that it stopped the enemy soldiers in their tracks. One by one, they began dropping their weapons, their wheels broken by the sound of her voice. The war ended before it even began, and peace was restored to the land. The people of Iloba celebrated their victory over their enemies, and Queen Moni's status as the goddess of peace was established. A large statue was made in honor of their brave and powerful queen. Sometime later, Queen Moni finally welcomed the birth of her 3rd child, a beautiful baby girl. She named her Dara. The transference of the gift was now complete. The power of the healing voice was then transferred from Queen Moni to her daughter, Princess Dara. King Adewale and Queen Moni ruled together for many, many years, making good memories along the way. Queen Moni's legacy as a healer and goddess of peace was cemented in history. She was known as the goddess who brought peace and healing to a world suffering from pain and sorrow. The moral of this story is that inner strength and self-worth can triumph over adversity, and true gifts should be used for good, not exploitation. Moni's journey teaches us the importance of believing in oneself, even in the face of hardship and cruelty. Despite being mistreated and taken advantage of, she discovers her true power, escapes her oppressive situation, and finds happiness on her own terms. She came from humble beginnings, overcame the challenges that came her way, and rose to become one of the greatest queens in the history of African folklore. Thanks so much for watching. This concludes the beautiful story of Moni, the girl with the healing voice. Please smash the like button and share, and also subscribe. If you found this story engaging and interesting, don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section. I would really love to hear from you. And please guys, support your boy, and please subscribe and put on the notification bell so you are notified whenever I post new videos with captivating and interesting storylines such as these. Till I bring to you another enchanting African tale. This is the African Storyteller.